Hi, this is Nick the Geek Rogers, and when I'm not fixing David Bowers' mistakes, I'm listening to him deliver the best indie music and news right here on the David Bowers Awards. If it rocks your radio, it's the David Bowers.
There you have it. It's called A Taste for Love by a gentleman who is, really music history in the making. He's the son of Eddie Daniels of the Four Sonics, whom you may remember. He's making his own new start with his debut single, Taste for Love, which you just heard. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome Mr. Clayton Morgan. Hello there, Clayton.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome there, and we're so glad to have you here with us today. And we want to thank Michael of MTS Management for putting us in contact with you. It's people like Michael that help us find the best talent and people that we might not catch as early, and we're glad to be able to catch you while your new single is breaking. Now, you do have a bit of history in the music business in your family. Tell us about that.
Well, my dad was a member of the Four Sonics group, which is a group out of Detroit from the late 1960s. It was a quartet, and he was a part of that group, and they had a song there. I guess their signature song would be "You Don't Have to Say You Love Me" by, the most famous version of that song was recorded by Dusty Springfield.
Right,
and
you came along later with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, so they put like a little R&B soul spin on it, and did a lot of different shows and performed at the Apollo Theater in New York, and that's really where I get it from, my dad. And as a kid, I grew up always in entertainment and wanting to sing, and so here I am today.
Absolutely, and with a background like that, you definitely have the creds to go with it. Tell us, did you get to go around with your dad on some of the gigs? I know you probably didn't tour with him, but did you get to go to some of his gigs?
No, actually, at the time when I was born, the group had already separated.
Ah, that's too bad.
So it was before I was born, but I always heard the stories about it, and then a lot of people around the city, of course, they knew of the records that they had made because they got a lot of traction and play in Detroit. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I never.
Go ahead, Clayton.
Go ahead. Finish up.
No, I was just going to say, I never really got a chance to experience that kind of lifestyle. I wish I could have. I wish that would have been awesome if I actually got to see that and experience that. But I wasn't fortunate enough to experience that.
Well, I can tell that the talent gene passed from one generation to the next, because I want to congratulate you on what we just played, A Taste for Love, because I was listening to this, and as David will tell you, and will tell almost every single one of our guests, I never really get to hear the music before the show starts, because they want my honest input on what I think of the music. So,
okay.
And I'm listening to A Taste for Love, and I got to tell you that first of all, melodically, it's put together beautifully. I love the production values in it, and I also really like the jazz influence that's in there, and so much so it kind of reminded me of Joe Sample and his Jazz Crusaders from the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And oh man, I tell you what, you've done some nice things there, and one of the things that it kind of reminded me of a little bit, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, and if you're not, then you should look it up on YouTube, and that would be the Crusaders featuring a singer by the name of Randy Crawford doing a song called Street Life, and I think that you'll see where I'm coming from if you listen to that. But really nice job, my friend, really nice job.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh, sure.
We've got we've got a little bit of a surprise coming up here before we let you go for your next track, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes because I want you to tell us a little bit about it. But since you did not get to travel with your dad, I mean, that does make it a little inconvenient when you're born after the career has moved on. What was your dad's influence on you as far as your music career was concerned?
Just his love for music. I mean, he always used to listen to music around the house. So I have definitely a large, I guess you would call it a variety of different music that was going on back then when I was growing up. So, I mean, of course, a lot of it was a Motown sound because that's where we're from.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of that, just Motown artists and a lot of other artists, Ray Charles, Wilson Pickett, just some of everything.
You mentioned Wilson Pickett. Would I be correct in assuming that some of your music has a bit of a harder edge than Taste of Love?
Well, I think I'm not as far as a harder edge.
Well, you know what I mean. A little grittier, a little more Wilson Pickett-ish.
I'm trying to think, like the one song that I remember by him that my dad used to play was it The Midnight Hour?
Oh yeah, that was my favorite. I love that song.
That was a song he used to play a lot. I don't really think my music has that type of vibe to it, but it is definitely it's definitely like a smooth R&B with some jazz flair here and there. And then I want to incorporate some funk type stuff too.
I think that may have been where I was going now. Pickett, some of his music was a little grittier, a little edgier, but the funk, I guess, is probably what I was thinking of. The fact that his music was definitely more funky than jazz, and that was probably what was crossing my mind at the time. Now, when did you yourself start getting involved in actually seriously doing music?
Well, I actually probably in the last year and a half. I have gotten into more so of writing and getting the music together as far as working on production and then working on lyrics, working out song ideas, and building a team that can help me achieve my goals of getting the music out there and getting it heard. But I started out really young. I mean, the first song I wrote, I was probably 13 or 14 years old.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
So, I started out real young with the first time I actually wrote a song, and then I remember I was trying to record demos even then, back then. But then as I got older and graduated high school, it was like, okay, life kind of just happened and the music kind of fell on the back burner. But now it's like I've come to want to come back to what it was that I always wanted to do. It was like my first love. So it's like, I guess if you're really not doing what you love, then you always feel like you're missing something. So I just want to come back to it because I always wanted to do it, and I feel like it's my time to do it.
I understand that, and you're absolutely right. If you're not doing what you enjoy, you're not only missing something, you're making life harder than it really has to be. But did you have, I guess you could say, an epiphany moment? Did you have a particular moment or time in your life when the bell actually rang and you just sort of looked at yourself and said, hey, wait a minute, this is what I really want to do?
I did. I had been thinking about it prior to, it's probably 2016 sometime. And I actually had an invite to go to the Grammy Awards in 2017. And so I went to the Grammy Awards, and there was an artist that was a presenter, a jazz artist, that came out on the stage to present. And they said, they gave her introduction before she came out, and they talked about her career a little bit, introducing her, and they said she started her career at age 42.
And that
was like the epiphany moment for me. That was the epiphany moment, honestly, because I'm like, man, I'm getting, I don't know, I guess because I'm always, growing up and being younger, I was always thinking about listening to, I guess, the top 40 type of music,
Right.
So I kind of felt like I fell off that spectrum. Like I'm at a point in life where, okay, I can't be like Justin Bieber, or, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm past that age. I mean, yeah, but I'm past that stage in life. So it's like, okay, is there a place for me to do what I really love? Because I guess I was just thinking like, dang, maybe I'm too old for this,
Well, let me ask you a question then. What is that place? Can you envision that place in life for Clayton Morgan? Where do you want to be? And where are you now in relation to where you want to be?
Everything right now, well, I'm not where I want to be just yet. But everything is definitely like building blocks right now at this point. It's really like and I said this in another interview, I said it's like the birth of Clayton Morgan in a way, So I just feel like right now everything is slowly coming together. Like I have a great production team with the music. I got that intact. I have Michael Stover, great guy. I mean, has all these different connections that can help me get the music to be heard and for me to be showcased and tell people what it is that I want to do and let them know that this is what I love and this is what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to share that with everyone. So that piece right there, having that, and then having like I guess this was like a choreographer, like artist development type person, that can help me with certain things, like certain aspects of, well, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do this. This is how you need to do that. As far as like, because everybody has learned when you go out on stage how to do this. Most of the times it's not natural. You do have to learn and you do have to practice to be the best at what it is you want to do.
Exactly.
So when I say that, just having like all these different components in place right now, I feel like I'm already starting. I had the foundation, and as I get out there, and there will be shows coming up here pretty soon, probably in August sometime, that's just going to build upon what people can see that I can do, and then maybe something else, another component will come in where, okay, I'll have a booking agent that'll say, okay, we like what you do live, and I want to book you for this. I'm going to do that. That's where I'm trying to get to right now. So right now it's like having everybody in place to showcase the talent, and then the next thing is for me to get out there so people can see it and then take that and move to the next step of really being a performing, touring artist. That's what I want to do.
Gotcha. And I know exactly where you're coming from, what you mean by having all the right people to take you in whichever direction that particular person specializes in, whether it's a voice or presentation, choreography, whatever it is, having all the right people. And it's great that you've got a guy like Michael Stover. As I said, we appreciate the fact that he gets us in touch with some excellent artists, including yourself, and we're very thankful for that. You actually partially answered my next question, which was going to be about whether you're doing any live appearances. So you're actually you're going to be picking that up in probably around August, you said.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of putting together what the live show is going to look like right now. So I'm working on that. I just finished filming the music video for Taste for Love. That I just finished that on the 4th of July. So that should be coming out pretty soon here. There's still some more editing to do on the video, but
great.
that's going to be coming out as well.
Speaking of more to